Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to take a closer look at a truly incredible document, the Constitution of India. We're going to break down all the important bits, which is perfect if you're studying for an exam or, just curious about how this country really works. So, are you ready? Let's get right into it. So, we've all heard this fact, right? India has the longest written constitution in the world. But have you ever stopped to think about what that really means? Why is it so long, and what on earth is packed inside? Well, in this session, we're going to find out. So where do we start? Well, to really get a grip on this document, we have to go back in time and look at how it was made. It's a fascinating story of struggle, big ideas, and some intense debates that literally shaped the future of India. The road to our Constitution was a really long one. The very first whisper of a need for a constituent assembly, a body to write it, came way back in 1895 from Bal Gangadhar Tilak. It then took more than 50 years for that idea to actually happen in 1946. And from there, on January 26, 1950, our Constitution was officially born, the day we celebrate as Republic Day. Okay, so we've got the history down, but what's the Constitution actually built on? What are its core ideas? Well, the brilliant minds behind it didn't just start from scratch. They looked all around the world, picked some of the best ideas, and adapted them perfectly for India. And this is what makes our Constitution so unique. It's like a best-of album of ideas from across the globe. For example, the whole concept of fundamental rights, that came from the USA. Fundamental duties, inspired by the former USSR. And single citizenship, we got that from Britain. Now, this list is an absolute favorite for exams, so you might want to remember this one. Let's dig a little deeper into that idea of single citizenship. In India, it doesn't matter if you're from Kerala or Kashmir, you are a citizen of India, period. That's totally different from a place like the US, where you're a citizen of the country and of your state, like California or Texas. This was a very conscious choice for India, you see. It was all about building one single national identity and making sure every citizen has the same rights, no matter where they are in the country. All right, let's talk about one of the most important parts of the Constitution, fundamental rights. When it was first adopted, it gave every single citizen 7 fundamental rights. Now, the key word I want you to focus on there is originally. Because if you check today, you'll find that there are only 6. So what happened? Where did the 7th one disappear to? And here's the answer to that little mystery. The right to property was taken off the list of fundamental rights. It wasn't completely removed, though. It was made a legal right through the 44th Amendment. Now, this is a really big deal because it meant the government could acquire land for public good, like building roads or dams, by providing fair compensation. This was much, much harder to do when it was a fundamental right. Of course, it's not all about rights, is it? Rights and duties go hand in hand. The fundamental duties were actually added much later, in 1976. They are basically 11 moral responsibilities for all of us citizens, things like respecting our national flag and promoting unity. And, like we said earlier, this idea was inspired by the Constitution of the former USSR. Okay, let's shift gears. We've talked about the history and the philosophy. Now let's get into the mechanics. How does the government actually work? This section is all about the blueprint for how India is run every single day. At the heart of our lawmaking system is the parliament. Now, a common mistake people make is thinking it's just 2 houses, the Lok Sabha, which is the House of the People, and the Rajya Sabha, the Council of States. But that's not the whole picture. The president is the third absolutely essential part. No bill can become a law without the president's approval. So who protects the Constitution and makes sure the laws are followed? That's the job of the judiciary. The best way to think about it is like a pyramid. Right at the very top, you have the Supreme Court. Below that are the high courts in the states, and at the base, you've got the district courts. This unified structure means there's a clear path for appeals, ensuring a single, consistent system of justice for everyone. All right, it's time for our final section, a lightning round. We're going to quickly go through some of the most important bodies and articles in the Constitution. Now, if you're preparing for an exam, you'll definitely want to pay close attention here. This is high-yield stuff. Let's quickly run through these. Article 76 gives us the Attorney General, who's basically the government's top lawyer. Article 148 sets up the CAG, the person who audits all government spending to keep things in check. Article 315, I'm sure many of you know this one, creates the UPSC. And a really important one, Article 368, gives Parliament the power to actually amend the Constitution. You might want to grab a screenshot of this for your notes. Here's another key evolution you need to know about, the shift from the old Planning Commission to the NITI Aayog. For decades, the Planning Commission was famous for its 5-year plans, but in 2015 it was replaced by NITI Aayog, which acts more like a think tank for the government, focusing on advice and cooperation between the center and states. And last but definitely not least, let's talk about the schedules. Originally, the Constitution had just 8. Today, it has 12. And those 4 additions are a huge deal. The 10th schedule, for example, brought in the anti-defection law to stop politicians from party hopping. And the 11th and 12th schedules were all about giving power to local governments, like panchayats and municipalities, which is so important for democracy. And there you have it, a quick tour of the magnificent Constitution of India. From its history to its core principles, it truly is a living, breathing document that continues to guide our nation. It makes you think, doesn't it? As India keeps changing and growing, which part of the Constitution do you think will be the most important for its future? अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आई हो तो प्लीज़ लाइक करिए, कमेंट करके अपना फीडबैक दीजिए और अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर ज़रूर करिए। चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें ताकि आपको और भी हेल्पफुल वीडियोस मिलती रहें। और ज़्यादा प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस के लिए हमें टेलीग्राम पर ज्वाइन करें, लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिया हुआ है। और अगर आप चाहते हो कि मैं किसी स्पेसिफिक टॉपिक पर वीडियो बनाऊं तो नीचे कॉमेंट्स में ज़रूर बताएं। मैं कोशिश करूंगी उस पर वीडियो बनाने की।